Okay. This page share. Yes, it's correctly sharing. Fine. Lord Krishna's gentle behavior before his so-called superiors, such as his father, grandfather, and elder brother, his amiable behavior with his so-called wives, friends, and contemporaries, his behavior as a child before his mother Yashoda, and his naughty dealings with his young girlfriends cannot bewilder a pure devotee like Uddhava. Others who are not devotees are bewildered by such behavior of the Lord who acted just like a human being. This bewilderment is explained by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita 9.11 as follows. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanamashritam param bhavamajananto mamo bhutam maheshwaram. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge belittle the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, not knowing his exalted position as the Lord of everything. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has explained this position clearly, but the demoniac atheistic student squeezes out an interpretation to suit his own purpose and misleads the unfortunate followers into the same mentality. Such unfortunate persons merely pick up some slogans from the great book of knowledge, like Karmanyevadhikaraste, something, every now and then they will say something, but are unable to estimate the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees like Uddhava, however, are never misled by such atheistic opportunists. 23. Aho baki yam stanakalakutam jighamsaya yayyadapyasadhui lebhe gatim dhatryuchittam tatonyam kam vadayalum sharanam vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast? Evam anuvrittihi kripaya eva iti suchayan apakarishu api tasya kripalutam darshayannaha. Aho ascharyam kripalutayaha. This kind of behavior is an indication that this indication that he is doing these activities simply out of mercy. And he points out Krishna's merciful nature even for those who came to harm him. So how wonderful is his merciful nature? Hantamichaya api stanayoha samritam kalagutam visham yam apayai. So she prepared deadly poison in order to kill Krishna. Baki, Utana, Asadhui, Dushta api dhatriya yashodayaha uchitam gatim lebhe. But he granted the position of a mother like uh, Yashoda, the position that was fit for Yashoda, that position he gave it to her, Putana. Bhakta Vesha Matrena Yah Sadgatim Tattavan Ityartha. Simply because she assumed the appearance of a devotee, he mercifully granted her spiritual destination. Tatonyam kam va bhajema. Who else should I serve? Who else should I take shelter of? This is Digdarshini to Vibhukti Vilas. This verse is quoted there. It comes in Sharanagati Prakarana, in the portion on Sharanagati. Where here is one very interesting remark. यद्यपि शरणापत्ति लिखनम कादाचित् कृत्य लिखन अनंतरम एव उपपद्यते सकृदेव प्रपन्नो यः इत्यादि वचनतः सकृत् प्रवृत्त्या एव शरणागतत्व सिद्धेः तथा अपि शरणागतत्वस्य नित्यभगवत्स्थान भगवत्स्थानाश्रयणादि लक्षणत्वेन नित्यम् आनुकूल्य संकल्पादि लक्षणत्वेन च नित्यकृत्य अंतर एव पर्यवसानात् अत्रैव लिखितमिति दिक्. He is pointing out why in this Sharanagati, why the Sharanagati portion comes up in this particular place in Hari Bhakti Vilas. This is in chapter 11. Actually, it comes after Nama Kirtana, after Bhagavan Nama Mahatmya, the glories of the supreme names of the Supreme Personality of God. After that section, it comes. So he says that even though there is that famous statement of Lord Ramachandra in Ramayana, and that person who surrenders unto me once, Sakriteva Prapannoya Tavasmi iti, the person who says that from now onwards I am yours, the Supreme Lord promises, Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai Dadami Etat Vratan Mama. I will grant him fearlessness. This is my vow. So there, a lot of analysis has taken place on this verse. In fact, the Ramanuja line considers this to be the Charma Shloka. It's considered the Ramayana Charma Shloka, just as that is the Bhagavad Gita Charma Shloka, the final instruction in Bhagavad Gita is Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So like that, Ramayana, the final instruction is actually this Sakriteva Prapannoya Tavasmi iti se yachate. So he points out that okay, so the analysis is on this word Sakrit. Sakrit means once. So if one surrenders unto the Lord once, the Lord takes care of it. So the idea is that by surrendering unto the Lord once, then that person becomes a Sharanagata. And Sharanagati has taken place. So then why he's meant to be, what does he have to do on a daily basis after that? So he points out, no, there is all these other elements, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, atmanikshepa karpanye, these four items, these have to be executed on a daily basis. Having faith that the Supreme Lord will protect me and begging him to protect, even if that is done once, still one should remember that one has some daily duties to do. So that is all to be taken into consideration, along with this idea that Krishna is most merciful and therefore he is meant to be served, he's meant to be accepted as the shelter, the object of surrender. Sharanam. Notice this word Sharanam. That is why Sanatana Goswami brings up this verse in the Sharanagati portion in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Okay. Then in Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami points out that this particular most auspicious nature of the Lord, which is not manifested in the other incarnations, that is found in this Swayam Bhagavan feature. Ahobhakiti Adau Kramasandarbha. Punarlaukika Kripaya Ati Amaryadatvam Anyatra Avatara Adau Adarshanat. In this incarnation, in his worldly pastimes with this world, his mercy has absolutely no limits because you don't see this in any other incarnation of the Lord. Kripa Masuriyam Smaran. He remembers the sweetness of Krishna's mercy right from the beginning of Krishna's descent to this world. To his opponents who came to harm him. Baki, Putana, iti, Matruभावस्य कृत्रिमत्वे अपि तत्रापि जिघांसया अपि कालकूटम अपि यम अपayayat. Though her attitude of being like a mother was artificial, though she wanted to kill him, though she actually smeared deadly poison on her breast. ततः सकाशात् धातृचित्ताम् अंबिका च किलिम्बा च धात्रिके स्तन्यदात्रिके इति द्वै कृष्णस्य धात्र्यौ तदुचिताम् गोलोके गतिं लेभे. There are two dhatris, wet nurses of Lord Krishna. This is noted in Radha Krishna Gunadesha Deepika, Rupa Goswami. And I'm sure it comes in Gauranga Gunadesha Deepika also. So their position in Goloka Vrindavan, that position was given to Bhakti or Putana. भक्त वेश मात्रेण अपि भक्त उचितां रतिं प्राप्नोति इति अत्र भगवता दुष्यति अपि पूतना दृष्टान्ती कृता. So Bhagavan has made Putana into an instance or an example that even if a person is hateful of the Lord, if that person just puts on a show of being a devotee, still that person attains affection that is appropriate for a devotee. Evam dushitamapi muktir bhaktischa syat iti Krishna avatarasya asadharanah dharma uktaha. This is a unique feature of the Krishna avatar, that even that he grants even liberation and bhakti to him, devotional service to him, for even those who hate him. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no one less than the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. We just one by one. Now, also in a separate screen, open up Siddhanta Sasita was commentary just to see if he has humanity. Okay, let's open here, but let me know that somewhere else. Let me know that here. His value as a Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being, but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He's always the same Supreme. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of a living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. All of this is to make us understand that we should just surrender unto Krishna's lotus feet fully, absolutely, without doubt. We should take shelter of him. So what is he? Dr. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He has given a tathya. He has quoted from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, seventh chapter. He is also referred to 10th canto, 6th chapter. He is also quoted Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, 3rd chapter. which is a quote from Billamangal. Sant avatara bhava pankaja nabhasya sarvato bhadra. There are several incarnations of the lotus naveled Lord, all of whom are auspicious. Krishnadanya kova lata swapi premadaha bhavati. But who is there other than Krishna? Who bestowed love for him even on the creepers? In quotes, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter 22, Bhakta-vatsal कृतज्ञ समर्थ वदान्य एनो कृष्ण छाड़ी पंडित नाहि भजे अन्य. Krishna is a Bhakta-vatsala. He's affectionate to his devotees. He's Kritagya. He's grateful. Samartha. He's capable. Vadanya. He is magnanimous. No learned scholar will give up Krishna who has such a nature and serve anyone else. Then quotes from Bhagavatam 10.48.26. 6. I think that's a statement of Uddhava. Yes. Okay, what is the question?
Hare Krishna, sir. So Dhatri Uchitam, that position, that means Putana became a Dhatri or she became some assistant to the Dhatris who are already there?
That is not, I don't know about that yet. These are the kind of things that would come in Brihad Vaishnava Toshani or Laghu Vaishnava Toshani. Okay. Okay. What is?
Prabhuji,
Yes. Yes.
This is a unique feature of Krishna Bhakti that anyone even putting a show of being a devotee gets affection for Lord. So does it happen with anyone and everyone? Because so many people put on a show who doesn't want to do devotional service.
Krishna will decide. There are no rules about Kripa Siddhi. There are only rules about Sadhana Siddhi. That's why we should go by the pathway of Sadhana Siddhi.
Okay, Prabhu.
There's something in the chat box here. Noble man accepts good qualities from a person of doubtful character. Saragrahi, that is called. We accept the essence, the good features. Gunagrahi, it is also called. When we need to apply this, as much as possible, we need to apply it. In surrendering, we are advised to reject unfavorable things. What is confusion about rejecting unfavorable things? We reject unfavorable things only, correct only. What is the confusion here?
Like Prabhu, some doubtful character means sometimes we see devotees does not follow the rules and regulations, so we should avoid them, or we should also associate with them simultaneously as much as possible.
No, we should accept their good qualities. He may have some good qualities in addition to bad qualities. So we should try to increase those good qualities in us. If we associate with them and then you also become like them, then that becomes a big problem. Okay. Okay. Let's resume. 24. Manye suran bhagavatam striyadhishe samrambha margabhinivishtha chittan ye samyuge chakshatatarkshya putram amse Sunabha yudhama patantam. I consider the demons who are inimical toward the Lord to be more than the devotees, because while fighting with the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they're able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Tarksha, Kashyapa, and carrying the wheel weapon in his hand. Here, Madhvacharya quotes from Brahma Purana. This first four lines are very, very interesting. Read and explain that. असुरा अपि ये विष्णु शंख चक्र गदाधरम भक्ति पूर्वम अवेक्षन्ते ज्ञेया भागवता इति. Even when the asuras look upon Lord Vishnu, who carries the Shankha Chakra Gada with devotion, they should be understood to be Bhagavatas or Vaishnavas. Vidvishanti tu ye Vishnum Rishiputra api sputam asurastepi vigyeya gachanti cha sadatamaha. On the other hand, the sons of the rishis, when they clearly and seriously hate Lord Vishnu, they should be properly understood to be asuras, and they attain eternal darkness. From this, it's clear that because there are also names like asura. Asura also refers to a species, like a race. There is Deva, there is Daitya, there is Asura, Rakshasa. Even though we refer to any bad person as an Asura, but Asura is also a technical expression. It's a reference to a race. Prahlad Maharaj, for instance, appeared in the Asura dynasty. So if you have somebody who appears in an Asura dynasty, but he is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, he should be understood to be a devotee of Lord Vishnu, Vaishnava only. Similarly, the son or a descendant of a rishi, and he may be a rishi is another race, so another species. So if somebody happens to be in that higher species, but he hates Lord Vishnu, then he should be understood to be an asura. Then Madhvacharya has another concept that there are two jivas. In cases like Putana, this is how he explains that that particular jiva who was inimical went to hell, and that the other jiva who was good, he or she attained liberation. Sridhar Swami, Nanu Bhagavataneva Bhagavan Anugrishnati iti prasiddham. It is well known that Bhagavan blesses Bhagavatas. Satyam, that is true. Asuranapi Pyakham. Something wrong with this. It's not the right reading. Swami. Okay, wait. Let me trace it. This is what? This is 3.2.24. 3.2.24. Opening it in a different screen. 3.15. 3.12. 3.8. 0.2. 0.23. Asuran api aham. Asuran api. भागवतानेव मन्ये यतः भागवता इव तेपि भगवद्ध्यान अभिनिवेशेन भगवन्तम् अपरोक्षं पश्यन्ति इत्याह. But Uddhava thinks that even the Asuras, I consider them to be Bhagavatas, devotees of Lord Vishnu, because like the Bhagavatas, like the devotees, they are absorbed in meditation on the Supreme Lord, and therefore they internally perceive Bhagavan. Samrambha, Krodha, Aveshaha, Tena Margena Abhinavishtam Chittam Yesham Tan. उत एव ये संग्रामे तार्क्ष्यः कश्यपः तस्य पुत्रं गरुडम् अंसे स्कन्दे सुनाभ आयुधः चक्रायुधः अरिः यस्य तम् अचक्षत अपश्यत् तस्मात् तेषु अपि अनुग्रहः युक्तः एव इत्यर्थः वक्ष्यति च तस्मात् केनापि उपायेन मनः कृष्णे निवेशयेत्. So it is appropriate that Krishna was merciful to them because they were so absorbed in thinking about him. मन्ये इति यद्यपि तेषु वस्तुतः भगवत् भागवतत्वं नास्ति तथापि उत्प्रेक्षते एव इति अर्थः. Jiva Goswami clarifies that even though in reality these people are not Bhagavatas, still they are metaphorically considered to be Bhagavatas. ततश्च निज बहिर्मुखत्वेन एव अन्तिम समये तद्दर्शनं न प्राप्स्यामि इति स्वनिन्दार्थम् उक्तम्. Uddhava thinks, because I am averse to the Supreme Lord, I will not be able to see the Supreme Lord at the last minute. So in that way, Uddhava is criticizing himself by saying this. Manye iti vilapa eva natu siddhantaha. Chakravarti Thakur says, this is simply his lamentation. This is not the settled final conclusion. असुरान् भागवतान् मन्ये इति अन्तिम समये भगवत् साक्षात्कार भगवत् पद प्राप्तिभ्यां लिंगाभ्यां तेन अस्मदादीन् बहिर्मुखान् मन्ये. I consider that I am averse to the Supreme Lord because these people, they had sakshatkara, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and they attained the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Antima samaye tad darshana abhava tad prapti abhavabhyam iti dvanitam. But I did not get that. This is the hint. Samrambha, Krodha, Aveshaha. Taksha Kashyapa tad putram Garudam achakshata pashyana. The asuras who fought against the Lord face to face got salvation due to their being killed by the Lord. This salvation of the demons is not due to their being devotees of the Lord. It is because of the Lord's causeless mercy. Anyone who is slightly in touch with the Lord somehow or other is greatly benefited even to the point of salvation due to the excellence of the Lord. He is so kind that he awards salvation even to his enemies because they come into contact with him and are indirectly absorbed in him by their inimical thoughts. Actually, the demons can never be equal to the pure devotees, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. He was thinking that at the last stage of his life, he might not be able to see the Lord face to face, as did the demons. The fact is that the devotees who are always engaged in the devotion service of the Lord in transcendental love are rewarded many hundreds and thousands of times more than the demons by being elevated to the spiritual planets where they remain with the Lord in eternal blissful existence. The demons and impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. For comparison, one can just imagine the difference between floating in space and residing in one of the planets in the sky. The pleasure of the living entities in the planets is greater than that of those who have no body and who merge with the molecules of the sun's rays. The impersonalists, therefore, are no more favored than the enemies of the Lord. Rather, they are both on the same level of spiritual salvation. Just now remember, Sanatana Goswami, where does he say this? Maybe in his commentary to Amodarashtaka or Brihad Vaishnava Toshani, 10th canto commentary, he analyzes exactly the description of how Putana came and how she wanted to kill Krishna. And he notes that Putana had some concern for Krishna's happiness. Some concern she had. And it is because of that she was given the facility to become a devotee in Goloka Vrindavan. He is given some analysis on that basis. I remember distinctly seeing that. 5. वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां जातो भोजेन्द्र बंधने चिकीर्षुर भगवानस्य शम अजेनाभि आचितः. The personality of God, Lord Shri Krishna, being prayed to by Brahma to bring welfare to the earth, was begotten by Vasudeva in the womb of his wife Devaki, in the prison of the king of Bhoja. Yes.
Prabhuji,
I cannot hear
how
you.
to understand that Putana was having some concern for Lord's
Yeah, it comes
happiness?
there. It comes in 10th canto. It comes in 10th canto. You have to examine. You have to examine that. He points out very clearly. Is evidence. Something she did proper. I think before trying to kill him, I think she appreciated him. Something, there was something there. He analyzes that. Let me see how I can trace it out. Okay. Sridhar Swami. इदानीं तस्य अन्तर्धानप्रकारं वक्तुम् आदितः आरभ्य तच्चरितं संक्षेपतः कथयति. In order to describe how Krishna disappeared from this world, he first of all summarizes Krishna's entire manifest pastimes, beginning from the very beginning. Vasudevasya bharyayam jatah bhojendraha kamsaha. In the prison of the king of Bhoja. The king of Bhoja is Kamsa. Tasya bandhana agare. तस्याः पृथिव्याः शं सुखं स्वयं चिकीर्षुः अजेन ब्रह्मणा च याचितः सन्. विदुर प्रश्न समाधान अर्थम मौषलीला अवश्यं वक्तव्या इति तां दुःखमयीं लीलां सुखमय्या लीलया सहितीकृत्यैव विवक्षुः आह वसुदेवस्य इति. See, Vidura had asked a question about Maushal Leela, how Krishna disappeared from this world. So to deal with that, Uddhava contemplated that let me speak the happy pastimes of Lord Krishna along with the distressing pastime, those pastimes which gave us happiness. Let me mix them with this description of the events that lead to those pastimes which gives us distress. Although there is no difference between the Lord's pastimes of appearance and disappearance, devotees of the Lord do not generally discuss the subject matter of his disappearance. Vidura inquired, this is a principle, Prabhupada also mentioned this. When there's one testimony, Jashamati Nandan Prabhu asked Prabhupada, how did Ramachandra disappear? Immediately Prabhupada said, Vaishnavas don't like to discuss the disappearance of the Lord. And then afterwards, then he explained how Lord Ramachandra disappeared. Vidura inquired indirectly from Uddhava about the incident of the Lord's disappearance by asking him to relate Krishna Katha or topics on the history of Lord Krishna. Thus, Uddhava began the topics from the very beginning of his appearance as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison of Kamsa, the king of the Bhojas at Mathura. The Lord has no business in this world, but when he is so requested by devotees like Brahma, he descends to the earth for the welfare of the entire universe. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8. Pritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatu dushkratam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. 26. Tato nandam vrajamita pitra kamsat Vibhyata Ekadasha Samastatra Gudharchis Balovasa. Thereafter, his father, being afraid of Kamsa, brought him to the cow pastures of Maharaj Nanda. And there he lived for 11 years, like a covered flame, with his elder brother, Baladev. Pitra hetubhutena Nanda Vrajam itaha gataha samaha samatsaran Udharchi Guptateja, like a covered flame. Ekadasheti तावता एव पूर्णकैशोरत्वात् तथोक्तं कालेन अल्पेन राजर्षे इत्यादि क्व च अतिसुकुमार अंगौ किशोरौ न आप्त युवानौ इत्यादि बाल this is a quote it's also a quote इत्यादि बाल्य पौगंड कैशोराः पुत्राभ्याम् अभवत् क्वचित् इत्यादिभ्यः गूढार्षरिति up to 11 is complete kaishora. गूढार्षरिति यथा गूढार्षिः कुत्रापि अग्निः प्राप्तं प्राप्तं इंधनं दहति. Like a covered flame. This example indicates that when you have fire and as soon as you have some fuel near it, it burns. तथा गोपलीलायाः गूढप्रभाव एव सन् प्राप्तं प्राप्तं असुरवृन्दं दहन् इत्यर्थः. So even though he was engaged in the pastimes of a cowherd boy and he had concealed his influential powers, as asuras kept coming to him, then he was burning them up. एकादश पर्यन्तं गूढार्चिः ततः परं पंचदश पर्यन्तं प्रकटार्चिः इति साध्याहारं व्याख्यानं तु अघटमानं च एकादश अभ्यन्तरे तत्तत् प्रभावस्य मध्ये मध्ये प्रस्तुतत्वात् तावता एव पूर्णकैशोरत्वात् तथोक्तम्. कृष्णसन्दर्भ पित्रा हेतुना इतः गतः एकादश समाः संवत्सरान् व्याप्य अवसत्. He was there for 11 years. It includes the 11th year. तावता एव कालेन बाल्य पौगंड कैशोर लीला संपूर्तेः. Because then by that time his balya lila, pauganda lila, kaishor lila are completed. Udarshihi prakritaihi kamsadibhi alakshita tattvaha. This covered flame indicates that materialistic people like Kamsa, they were unable to recognize his true nature. Another fine explanation he gives. Madhurya udrekena gudha aishwarya itiva. It also indicates that his Aishwarya was concealed due to an increase of Madhurya. Yes?
Prabhuji, in 25th verse, Uddhavji is saying that Lord was begotten in the womb of Mother Devji by Vasudevji. So it appears as like a description of a mortal human being's appearance. So why he didn't you described it in some transcendental way that he appeared in an inhuman like in a superhuman way? Why that
It is
statement
simply a
was
pastime.
normal humans were
No, it's just a
begotten in
pastime.
the
First of all, he uses the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan. And he was begged by Aja, Brahma, to come. So he appeared. Jataha, he appeared. That's all. He points out, see, he uses the word Bhagavan. It's not simply saying Krishna. Here also it is Gudharchi. He will not allow us to forget Krishna's position. There was no necessity of the Lord's being dispatched to the house of Nanda Maharaj out of fear of Kamsa's determination to kill him as soon as he appeared. It is a business of the Asuras to try to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to try or to prove by all means that there is no God, or that Krishna is an ordinary human being and not God. Lord Krishna is not affected by such determination of men of Kamsa's class, but in order to play the role of a child, he agreed to be carried by his father to the cow pastures of Nanda Maharaj because Vasudeva was afraid of Kamsa. Nanda Maharaj was due to receive him as his child. And Yashoda Mai was also to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, and therefore to fulfill everyone's desire, he was carried from Mathura to Vrindavan just after his appearance in the prison house of Kamsa. He lived there for 11 years and completed all his fascinating pastimes of childhood, boyhood, and adolescence with his elder brother, Lord Baladeva, his first expansion. Vasudeva's thought of protecting Krishna from the wrath of Kamsa is part of a transcendental relationship. The Lord enjoys more when someone takes him as his subordinate son who needs the protection of a father than he does when someone accepts him as the Supreme Lord. He is the father of everyone and he protects everyone. But when his devotee takes it for granted that the Lord is to be protected by the devotee's care, it is a transcendental joy for the Lord. But we should remember this only applies for pure devotees or those who are becoming pure devotees. If those who are impure try to exhibit such attitudes, they will be punished because it is a great offense otherwise. Thus, when Vasudeva, out of fear of Kamsa, carried him to Vrindavan, the Lord enjoyed it. Otherwise, he had no fear from Kamsa or anyone else. Just 1 minute. Let me just quickly check if Saraswati Thakur had said anything. Nothing. 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 27. Parito vatsapair vatsams. Vatsams sharayan vyaharat vibhu. Yamanopavane kujat vijasankulitangri pe. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by cowherd boys and calves. Thus he traveled on the shore of the Yamuna river, through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Yaharad akrita kujadbhihi vijayhi pakshibhihi sankulita yapta agripa yasmin. Nanda Maharaj was a landholder for King Kamsa. But because by caste he was a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile and agricultural community, he maintained thousands of cows. It is the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cow, just as the Kshatriyas are to give protection to the human beings. Because the Lord was a child, he was put in charge of the calves with his cowherd boy friends. These cowherd boys were great rishis and yogis in their previous births, and after many such pious births, they gained the association of the Lord and could play with him on equal terms. This is a paraphrase of a 10th canto verse. Such cowherd boys never cared to know who Krishna was, but they played with him as a most intimate and lovable friend. They were so fond of the Lord that at night they would only think of the next morning when they would be able to meet the Lord and go together to the forest for cowherding. The forests on the shore of the Yamuna are all beautiful gardens full of trees of mango, jackfruit, apples, guava, oranges, grapes, berries, palm fruit, and so many other plants and fragrant flowers. And because the forest was on the bank of the Yamuna, naturally there were ducks, cranes, and peacocks on the branches of the trees. All these trees and birds and beasts were pious living entities born in the transcendental abode of Vrindavan, just to give pleasure to the Lord and his eternal associates, the cowherd boys. While playing like a small child with his associates, the Lord killed many demons, including Aghasura, Bakasura, Pralambasura, and Gardhabasura. Although he appeared at Vrindavan just as a boy, he was actually like the covered flames of fire. As a small particle of fire can kindle a great fire with fuel, the Lord killed all these great demons beginning from his babyhood in the house of Nanda Maharaj, the land of Vrindavan. The Lord's childhood playground still remains today, and anyone who visits these places enjoys the same transcendental bliss, although the Lord is not physically visible to our imperfect eyes. Lord Chaitanya recommended this land of the Lord as identical with the Lord and therefore worshipable by the devotees. This is Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam. This instruction is taken up especially by the followers of Lord Chaitanya, known as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And because the land is identical with the Lord, devotees like Uddhava and Vidura visited these places 5,000 years ago in order to have direct contact with the Lord, visible or not visible. Thousands of devotees of the Lord are still wandering in these sacred places of Vrindavan, and all of them are preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. See, Prabhupada also appreciates devotees in these holy abodes who are properly preparing themselves. He's not saying that they're not in ISKCON and therefore they're all bogus. He doesn't say all these kind of things. Okay, chat box. So what about the devotees? What about the devotees? Those who are imitating Lord as Son, Father. What is that? Those who are imitating.
Oh, means they are accepting the Lord as their son, someone as a husband, lover, etc.
Yeah, if they are pure devotees, then Krishna accepts it.
No, they are not pure devotees. They are common devotees, general devotees.
General devotees. If they follow, if there's a process for all this, without purity, if do all these things, then you'll be punished only. You'll not become free from the anarthas. You will not progress in spiritual life. That's what it means.
Just like some
28.
Matajis are there, those who are losing their children, their sons. So after that, they take Lord Krishna in the Laddu Gopal as their son, and they try to serve him as like that.
Anyway, as long as one remembers that one is eternal servant of Krishna and that Krishna is most lovable as the Vishaya Vigraha in all the five rasas, and one wants to re-establish himself in that position, then that much can be accepted. Prabhupada also said, no, he told so many women, why are you unnecessarily bothering so much about getting married to these human beings? You marry Krishna, that's all. It doesn't mean that they start imagining that they are Krishna's wives in Dwaraka and all that. That's not what it means. It means that you dedicate yourself, your whole life, you live like a tapaswini. You completely absorb yourself in service to Krishna. Stop all these other activities. And if you have a desire to marry, then you pray to Krishna to become qualified to become his wife in Dwaraka. Go through the entire process. It's a process to attain sadhana siddhi. It all starts with vacho vegam, manasah krodha vegam. Process. Okay, 28. Kaumarim darshayam cheshtam prekshaniyaam rajaukasam rudanniva hasanmugdha balasimhavalokanah. When the Lord displayed his activities just suitable for childhood, he was visible only to the residents of Vrindavan. Sometimes he would cry and sometimes laugh, just like a child. While so doing, he would appear like a lion cub. Rudan iva. Tiva Shabd. What's Veti? Let me call the check. 28. Rudan iva iveti. Rudan iveti. Rudan iveti. Iva Shabdasya. Yatha yogam sarvatrapi anvayah. The word eva, which means just like or as if, should be applied everywhere. So that means that he was behaving like a child. He was behaving as if he was angry, as if he was doing this, as if he was doing that. Yatha yogam, as appropriate. Sarvatrapi anvayah. Uddha balaha cha yaha simhaha tadbhutavalokam yasya saha. Kumari miti atyanta balyatva vatsyacharnasya प्राक्तनीयं लीला शोक आवेशेन व्यतीयस्य पिता अटिताय विभूतस्य परित इत्यादि योजना बाल्य स्वभाव दर्शिता. This is his childhood nature. Because he was, this is talking about that period of childhood before he even went to take care of the calves, even before that. यथा बाला विनापि रोदनं दर्शयन्ति तथैव मातॄणामग्रे अधेयलोभ्य वस्तु प्रार्थना हठादौ रुदन्निव भवति तदैव तत् प्राप्तौ हसन्. When children, they ask for something that it's not given to them, but they're being their desire to acquire it is increased, and then they ask, and then they shout, they become very mischievous, they cry, and then when that's given, they become happy. All of that the Lord displayed. किंच भीषण दैत्यादि आगमे मुग्धः अपि बालः अपि सिंहः यथा घोरसत्त्वाय बिभेति किन्तु स्वपराक्रममेव दृष्ट्या द्योतयति तथा भूतस्य सिंहस्य एव अवलोकनं यस्य सः परमवत्सलान् पित्रादीन् व्याकुलयति. When very terrible daityas come, then just as a young lion becomes frightened, it's like that he behaves in particular manners. He glances like a lion cub. He looks like a lion cub. If anyone wants to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, then he has to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Raja. Like Nanda, Upananda, and other parental inhabitants. A child may insist on having something and cry like anything to get it, disturbing the whole neighborhood. And then immediately after achieving the desired thing, he laughs. Such crying and laughing is enjoyable to the parents and elderly members of the family. So the Lord would simultaneously cry and laugh in this way and merge his devotee parents in the humor of transcendental pleasure. These incidents are enjoyable only by the residents of Raja like Nanda Maharaj, and not by the impulseless worshippers of Brahman or Paramatma. Sometimes, when attacked in the forest by demons, Krishna would appear struck with wonder, but he looked on them like the cub of a lion and killed them. His childhood companions would also be struck with wonder, and when they came back home, they would narrate the story to their parents. Then everyone would appreciate the qualities of their Krishna. Child Krishna did not belong only to his parents, Nanda and Yashoda. He was the son of all the elderly inhabitants of Vrindavan and the friend of all contemporary boys and girls. Everyone loved Krishna. He was the life and soul of everyone, including the animals, the cows, and the calves. 29. Saiva Gothanam Lakshmiya Niketam Sthitago Vrisham Charayan Nanugan Gopan Ranadvenu Riramat. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. स एव अधिकं वयः प्राप्तः सन् गोधनं चारयन्. कथं भूतं गोधनं? लक्ष्म्या शोभादि सम्पदः निकेतनम्. So as he grew, he started to take care of these cows, which are actually treasured. See, the treasure of cows. Lakshmiya Shobhadi Sampadha Niketanam. Sita Govrisha Yasmin Nana Varne Rosankhe. Ranan Shaptam Kurvan Venuvyasya Veeramat Ayamasa. He made them happy by blowing his flute. Saiva Kinchit Adhikam Vaya. As he grew to 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given charge of looking after the cows and bulls in the grazing grounds. He was the son of a well-to-do landholder who owned hundreds and thousands of cows. And according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. With only these two things, cows and grain, humanity can solve its eating problem. Human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. All other things. But these two are artificial necessities created by man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Lord Krishna, as a teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community or the Vaishyas should herd cows and bulls and thus give protection to the valuable animals. So Krishna showed what Vaishyas should be doing, not that they should be investing in Dalal Street. That's not their business. They're supposed to take care of cows and grow grains. According to Smriti regulation, the cow is the mother and the bull the father of the human being. The cow is the mother because just as one sucks the breast of one's mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of human society because the father earns for the children just as the bull tills the ground to produce food grains. This is straight from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Adilila. When Lord Chaitanya was talking with Shankar, human society will kill its spirit of life by killing the father and the mother. It is mentioned herein that the beautiful cows and bulls were of various checkered colors, red, black, green, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy smiling features, the atmosphere was enlivening. Over and above all, the Lord used to play a celebrated flute. The sound vibrated by his flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget all talks of Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalists. These cowherd boys, as will be explained by Shukadeva Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying with the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. The Brahma Samhita 5.30 confirms the Lord's blowing his transcendental flute. Venam kunantam aravinda dalayataaksham barhavatam samasitambuda sundarangam kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajam. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with peacock plumes, and his bodily color resembles the fresh black cloud, although his bodily features are more beautiful than millions of cupids. These are the special features of the Lord. Prayuktan bhojarajena, mayena kamarupina, leelaya vyanudattam stan, bala kridana kaniva. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kamsa, to kill Krishna. But in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Kridana kams, trinadi nirmitan simhadin yatha. Dolls refer to dolls of lions and so on, made out of grass or similar substances. Grass or leaves and so on. The atheist Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna just after his birth. He failed to do so, but later on he got information that Krishna was living in Vrindavan at the house of Nanda Maharaj. He therefore engaged many wizards who could perform wonderful acts and assume any form they liked. All of them appeared before the child Lord in various forms like Agha, Bakka, Putana, Shakata, Trinavarta, Dhenuka, and Gardhava. And they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord as if he were only playing with dolls. Children play with toy lions, elephants, boars, and many similar dolls, which are broken by the children in the course of their playing with them. Before the Almighty Lord, any powerful living being is just like a toy lion in the hands of a playing child. No one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be equal to or greater than him, nor can anyone attain the stage of equality with God by any kind of endeavor. Jnana, yoga, and bhakti are three recognized processes of spiritual realization. The perfection of such processes can lead one to the desired goal of life in spiritual value. But that does not mean that one can attain a perfection equal to the Lord's by such endeavors. The Lord is the Lord at every stage. When he was playing just like a child on the lap of his mother Yashodamai, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continued to remain God without the slightest diminution of his six opulences. Thus, he is always unrivaled. Chat box. But I think in our ISKCON also, devotees are not putting so much effort to protect cows. There are individual devotees and there are groups of devotees who are dealing with that. But all those who are interested in these things should take up these projects. You should take up all these. It's very important to take care of cows. There's a cow protection ministry. If you're interested, you can see how to help that also, in addition to your existing services. All of us should come forward. We have local services, but we also have global services. Without compromising our local services, we should also try to help globally. It's a voluntary endeavor ultimately. Okay, 31. Vipannan Vishapanena Nigrihya Bhujagadhipam Utthapyapaya Yad Gavas Tattoyam Prakriti Sthitam. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away. And after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. Vipanna, perplexed in great difficulties. This indicates that the gopas and the cows, they had died, but Uthapya, he had them come out. He woke them up back into life and ensured that the water came back to its original nature, nirvisham, prakritistitam nirvisham, in its poisonless state. Vishodaka panena murchitan gopala, rascha uthapya. When it says that they had died, it actually means that they had fainted. 32. Ayajayad go savena, goparajam dvijottamai, ittasya chorubharasya, chikishan sadvyayam vibhuhu. Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows. And also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus he advised his father to perform worship of go, or the pasturing land, and the cows with the help of learned brahmanas. Indra puja bhangena krita gavam puja eva gosavaha. Tena. So Krishna wanted to stop worship of Indra so that the cows could be worshipped. Uparajam nandam. Ittasya cha iti chakara indrasya manabhangam kurvan uru bharasya ati samriddhasya. You wanted the proper utilization of the extreme opulence that was there in Vraja. He also wanted to cut down Indra's pride. Since he is the teacher of everyone, the Lord also taught his father Nanda Maharaj. The Maharaj was a well-to-do landholder and owner of many cows, and as was the custom, he used to perform yearly worship of Indra, the king of heaven, with great opulence. This worship of demigods by the general populace is also advised in the Vedic literature just so people can accept the superior power of the Lord. The demigods are servants of the Lord deputed to look after the management of various activities of universal affairs. Therefore, it is advised in the Vedic scriptures that one should perform yajnas to appease the demigods. But one who is devoted to the Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. Worship of the demigods by common people is an arrangement for acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, but it is not necessary. This answers the question, why is there demigod worship in the first place? It is an arrangement to acknowledge the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Such appeasement is generally recommended for material gains only, as we have already discussed in the second canto of this literature. One who admits the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to worship the secondary demigods. Sometimes, being worshipped and adored by less intelligent living beings, the demigods become puffed up with power and forget the supremacy of the Lord. This happened when Lord Krishna was present in the universe. And thus the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven, Indra. He therefore asked Maharaj Nanda to stop the sacrifice offered to Indra and to use the money properly by performing a ceremony, worshipping the cows, and the pasturing ground on the hill of Govardhan. By this act, Lord Krishna taught human society, as he has instructed in the Bhagavad Gita also, that one should worship the Supreme Lord by all acts and by all their results. Result means money. We work to get money. Money of different types. It could be cash, it could be real estate, it could be wealth. That will bring about the desired success. The Vaishyas are specifically advised to give protection to the cows and their pasturing ground or agricultural land instead of squandering their hard-earned money. That will satisfy the Lord. The perfection of one's occupation duty, whether in the sphere of duty to oneself, one's community, or one's nation, is judged by the degree to which the Lord is satisfied. 23. Varshati indre vrajah kopal bhagnamaaneti vihvalaha bhagna hyphen mane golila tapatrena trato bhadranugrihyanata. O sober Vidura, King Indra, his honor, having been insulted, poured water incessantly on Vrindavan, and thus the inhabitants of Braja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. But the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from danger with his pastime umbrella, the Govardhan Hill. "24. Sharat Shasikarair Mrishtam Manayan Rajani Mukham Gayan Kalapadam Reme Strinam Mandala Mandanaha." In the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed as a central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Mrishtam, Ujjwalam, Strina Mandalam Mandayati Tisa. So he attracted and he actually decorated the circle of women. This is a description of the pastime that took place after the Rasalila. Chapter 3, the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. Next one. How many do we have? 7. Let's see. Uddhavavasha. Tatah saagatya puram swapitro chikirshayasham baladeva samyuto nipatya tungad ripuyutha natham atam yakarshad vyasum ojasor vyam. Sri Uddhava said, Thereafter, Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baladev, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. तृतीये मथुरामेत्य व्रजात् कंस वधाधिकं यत्कृतं द्वारकायां च कृष्णेन तदवर्णयत्. In the third chapter, Uddhava describes what Lord Krishna did when he came to Mathura from Vraja, such as his slaughter of Kamsa and other such activities, other pastimes in Dwaraka. Pitro Sugasya Chikishaya, to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa. Tungat Rajamancha, dragged him from his throne. Upayuthanam Natham Kamsam. He was a leader of public enemies. Vyasorapi Vikrashanam Pitro Sukhartham. Even after he died, they dragged his dead body just to make his mother and father happy. Uddhavacheiti Rasalila Varnarambhe Prema Vaivashyat Adhyaya Samaptihi. Paschat Kathamapi Bahir Anusandhane Sati Iti Gyayam. When Uddhava started to speak about the Rasalila, he became overwhelmed with love for Krishna. So therefore the chapter ended there. Then somehow or other, he came out of his trance. Afterwards, he continued to speak, which is how this chapter continues. Tata iti priyajana pidakatvat devadinam priti vishayakatvacha vikarshanam. Because Kamsa had harassed those who were dear to Lord Krishna, his dear relatives, and because by dragging his dead body, it would make the devas and others happy. Therefore, he did that. तृतीये मथुराद्वारवत्यो कंसवधादिकाः लीलाः कुरूणां निधनमपि संक्षिप्य वर्णितम्. There's a brief description in this chapter of the pastimes at Mathura, Dwaravati, that means Dwaraka, beginning with the killing of Kamsa, and also the destruction of the Kurus. Tan marana sambhavayatam vibhyatam pitradinam murchitattvam bhana nirasartham. Why did he drag his dead body, Kamsa's dead body? Because they thought it is not possible for him to just have died so easily. His father and others, Krishna's father and others. And Krishna wanted to prove that it is not that Kamsa had just fainted or pretended to be fainted. Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly and elaborately described in the 10th canto. The Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents, even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Baladeva, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva and Devaki never thought that Krishna and Baladev, would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. When the two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne, their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger and they almost fainted. Just to convince them that they had actually killed Kamsa, Krishna and Baladev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them to Sandipane Sakrit Proktam Brahmaditya Savistaram. Tasmai Pradad Varam Putram Ritam Pancha Janodarat. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher Sandipani Muni. Sakrit, once only. Whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Brahma Veda. Here the word Brahma refers to the entire, all the Vedas with their different branches of knowledge. Because Brahma here refers to Shabda Brahma, Savistaram, Shadangadi Sahitam. He learned all the Vedas in all details, which means along with the Vedangas, Vyakarana, Kalpa, Jyotisha, like that. There are 6 Vedangas. Panchajanodara Vidarana Dvara Putram Aniya. So he killed Panchajana and got the son of Sandipani Muni back. Panchajana Udaram Prapya Mritam Yamalokad Aniya Pradaditi Bodhavyam. So he had first gone to search for the son at Panchajana, and then he went to Yamaloka and got the son. Panchajanodaram Vidarya iti Yamalokadaniya iti Shesha. No one but the Supreme Lord can become well versed in all the branches of Vedic wisdom simply by hearing once from his teacher. Nor can anyone bring a dead body back to life from the soul after the soul has already gone to the region of Yamaraj. But Lord Krishna ventured to the planet of Yamaloka and found the dead son of his teacher and brought him back to his father as a reward for the instructions received. The Lord is constitutionally well versed in all the Vedas and yet to teach by example that everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward. He himself adopted this system. The Lord offered his services to his teacher, Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son who had died be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled the request. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. Chat box. What service we can do to the teacher to satisfy him? That's a whole. After one completes his education, after the brahmachari goes to the guru's ashrama, stays there, serves him, participates in ashram services and everything, then learns the Vedas, Vedangas, all the 14 branches of knowledge actually. We can see a list of what all Krishna studied in Krishna book. And how he rendered services, that is clear from that Sudama Vipra. There's a flashback discussion about how Krishna and Sudama, they served their spiritual master. How much hardship they took up to serve. So after one does all that, then one is supposed to give a Guru Dakshina, because the teaching is actually for free. So then one has to give a Dakshina. The Dakshina should be based on the capacity, and usually the Guru says in Mahabharata also we come across different things which are asked as Guru Dakshina. Where we can get it, where we can get what.
That Sudama and Krishna something you were saying.
Krishna book. Krishna book. Something Krishna book. Okay, so we'll stop with that. That is what? That means I have to start with this 3.3.3. That's what we should start. This is done. All right, fine. Okay, we'll stop with that. Vanshakalputruvesya kripasindhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay, let me end this meeting.